All right, your Christmas shows with simple gifts are now an essential local holiday tradition. How did that all come together for you?
It came together through the voice of Karin Bogley. I told you, Willie, that growing up I was playing in the band with the great female lead vocalist, and it was fun for me to do that. And the first time I heard Karin sing, she was singing a cappella on the steps of one of Jeff Arundel's New Year's parties at his house on the Minnehaha Parkway. And I heard this young gal, and I just went, wow, would I love to work with her? And I knew her parents were full-time folky acoustic players. Anna Mae and Fred Vogley were playing the circuit around the upper Midwest for years. And so she grew up around music. And eventually we had an opportunity to work together. And at the same time that she and I started to think about playing together, I met a gal named Jenny Lynn Starr who played the Celtic whistle. And I was like, Karin's voice has kind of got that Celtic thing. I love the acoustic guitar stuff that we can do. And then the Celtic whistle. And then we got a hand percussion guy, this Billy Orline, who I'd been playing with for years. Great kit player, rock, country, whatever. But he always loved the tasty percussion thing. So you take the volume away and you start playing concerts, right? With this 4-piece. And we called it Simple Gifts. I don't know. I just thought, we never played that song, it's a gift to be simple. We never did that song. But we did what came natural for the four of us. And it was interesting. I think it was Karin. It was either Karin or Jenny said, hey, this is fun, but it's coming up on Christmas. Could we record a couple Christmas songs? I want to give him. My uncle is not doing well. We wanted to do a little holiday gift for one of the family. I can't remember exactly how it happened. So the first thing we ended up recording was Christmas music. And we hadn't really thought of doing just Christmas music, but indeed that's what ended up happening was people responded to these recordings that we did. And I said, well, let's do a full length. I think we cranked out 2 or 3 tunes, and then it was obvious, okay, and I produced and engineered the whole first record here at this house.
Oh, yeah.
In the little room in the back.
Oh.
Yeah. We recorded Jenny's grand piano at her parents' place out in Afton. So there was some location recording, but for the most part, it was done here. It's a neat record. Still, I think, a super creative. Karin's voice is mesmerizing and healing in the most genuine way that I can say. And it attracted a multi-generational fan base because you'd have families with kids, and the kids liked us, and their parents liked us. So we had like the grandparents and the parents and the kids all come into our holiday shows, and 20 years of building a fan base of traditional and some original, a little bit of original compositions. Tell you what, you want a tough gig, take a song like Silent Night and try to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Willie, really do something with it. I'm telling you.
You guys have. I've been at those concerts. It's the top of the whole show.
The arranging thing, see, that was always the magical thing for me, is that somehow, whether it was through Karin's voice or Jenny's whistle or just whatever I was also listening to at the time, we wouldn't put out a song like a Silent Night unless we did something to it that would add to the legacy of that composition. It's like Happy Birthday. Like everybody freaking knows that song, At least they know the melody, how it goes, and around the world they know that song. So why would you record it unless you were doing something? But then it gets into the chord structures, and that's where I would have fun. Putting something special into something you've heard 1,000, and there's 100 fabulous arrangements of Silent Night. I think our version of all of our arrangements, they sit in that top tier, I think.
Do you do all of your arranging on guitar?
Yeah, for the most part. Unless it's a choral thing.
And for those who don't know, arranging has a lot to do with taking the chords, making them fancy, making them simpler, reharmonizing a song, turning the chords upside down so that the bass note isn't necessarily the lowest tone
Correct.
You're hearing.
Yep.
This must be the stuff you love, right?
Yeah, I love it so much. I'm pretty slow about it, Willie, because I'll get going on an arrangement of something and I'll go, oh, this isn't cool enough. It's that editor thing,
Mm-hmm.
No, to our credit, we've got 6 albums out. One of them is a live record with a kind of a collection and a couple of new things on it. But for the most part, I'd say we have 5 complete Christmas albums with these really interesting arrangements. And it's not just the arrangement itself, it's how the arrangement is presented. We don't have an orchestra. I mean, you could orchestrate a lot of these. They're arranged in such a way that they could be, but we were making these things come alive with a small ensemble. It went from being a 4-piece to now being a 7-piece, but that's still, when 3 of the members are vocalists, it's not a huge band with, lots of keyboards and layered, multiple guitar players and all that. We created a big sound with a small cast of characters.
For how inadvertently you fell into this famous regional holiday tradition. It's meant for much more than just the holiday season. I listen to this stuff year-round now, and it's because there aren't necessarily sleigh bells jangling over everything. No, right. And it isn't necessarily just feeding a Christian soul or a holiday soul. It's music for all time.
Yeah, our fan base is not just multi-generational, but multi-denominational. It's a fun time of year to get people together. And, we love playing historic rooms where there's one in particular where we know that people have been making music during the holidays in that room for over 100 years. And it feels really cool to share that with people now because you start to realize you're part of a bigger river of history. And there's a significance to it that can feed you even when the dough's not great. How's that? I mean, I love to have fun and giggle too, but, I was kind of getting choked up there a little bit because we have loved it. It's interesting to really be around other players and be dedicated to a project. Now, people have come and gone because they've started families and everything, but there's never been anyone in the group that didn't love it as hard and as raw and as real as I do.
Yeah, and you're referring to the venue, the Marine on St. Croix. Yeah. Talk about the river, but that building is practically over a stream that abuts the St. Croix River. It's a beautiful flowing chakra, isn't it? And you guys own that place every holiday season.